I think it's always been a popular category for brands. I know a lot of brands are trying to move marketing spend into branded entertainment for obvious reasons. I think for obvious reasons, again, there wasn't a lot of work in this category because it was difficult to produce things. I mean, we've all been anyone in the business has been through the rigor of producing during COVID. And to produce a long content piece or long form content piece, it just requires a lot of dedication, a lot of effort, and essentially costs more than it would otherwise. The quality of work, I think was still fairly high, but it was just less of it. I think we were generous in the overall medal count, but I think we were pretty lean as it relates to golds and silvers. I don't think we when you looked at the averages, I think we actually rewarded um, less applicants than previous jurors. And I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier. I think there was less great work for obvious reasons. We're still going through this pandemic, but the work that was great, and I think we rewarded that work. I think people are still we're trying to figure out, and probably still are trying to figure out how to make great work with all the parameters that have been put on us based on COVID-19. So this is something that we're working through as an industry. The first thing I look at, or the first thing I think about is this something that I've seen before? And is it an iteration of something that I've seen before? If it is an iteration of something that I've seen before, have they done it in a unique way that makes it feel fresh and different than maybe the way that I had digested it previously? If it's not, that's my sort of first pass at not celebrating that work. The second thing I think about is what is the insight, and have they taken an insight and presented it to me in a way that it forces me to be even more curious about their brand or whatever they're talking about, their service. If it does, then you got me, and I'll listen in and I'm engaged. The final thing, and these things are not in order, is craft. How did you craft that piece? Does it demonstrate a high attention to detail? And that cuts across everything: look, feel, tone, writing, sound design, whatever it is. You start to pay attention to those things, and that starts to tick it up for me. And it's pieces that hit all of those categories in a certain way at a high level that end up, in my opinion, getting the highest marks, and you can potentially getting silver or gold. Pay attention to the categories. I think one thing we found is a lot of people are putting in work that's obviously really good, but it's just misplaced. The categories don't speak to the idea, so we start to question whether or not it warrants an award because the category doesn't seem to fit. So that's a big thing, and I've run into that in other award shows too. So pay attention to the category, make sure you're entering the work in the right category. The other thing, if there's a case study attached to your piece, those case studies have to really, really spell out or help us understand why this piece is unique. I think you have to, especially in branded content, because some of these pieces are so long, you have to really sort of walk us through what it is about that particular piece of creative that is exciting and different and new. That has to come through clearly. I think simplicity is very important, making sure that whatever that simple idea is, that is digestible. Because and you have to also understand, these are international jurors, so there are people from different regions who may not get that cultural insight. So you have to really think that through, understanding that you're not just talking to your region, you're talking to a global jury. So I think taking all those things into consideration is always helpful in before you enter into any award show, especially the LIAs. We loved Home Sweet Home. We thought it was an incredible, and well-crafted, smart, insightful way to, you know, talk about tourism, which is a really difficult topic. Bringing it and putting it into a gaming situation and scenario was really smart. They didn't only do that; they sort of attached this horror film genre to it, which made it even more engaging and interesting. So it was just layer on layer of complexity, but also simplicity, which I know is a contradiction. It made me really curious. I wanted to play it. I wanted to see all these different landmarks and how they were presented in this format. So we loved that piece because it was just so inventive and interesting. Love the uncensored library too. That piece, what a great hack when it comes to, you know, creating a space for people to, especially in regions that ban books, using Minecraft as a way for people to come in and experience some of these books that they may not be able to experience in their everyday life just based on where they live. So really, really smart, insightful way to use gaming and technology and just creating a digital experience to sort of hack governments. And then stress-inducing timer is, you know, it's such an incredible piece. It's an animated piece, which is different than the others technically. It's, you know, it's a food product. You know, it was noodles, and it was they created this really interesting character who just so happened to be this chicken who walked you through all these sort of stressful scenarios as a way to talk about the stress reducing uh, component of this particular type of noodle soup that came from this brand. And it was such a brilliant, smart, fun, funny, awesome execution. You know, we talked about it so much, and we just wanted to see it again and again. It was so beautifully crafted. And I love pieces like that that really stand out. It felt like nothing else in the entire show, and we celebrated it for that.